Oh, gnarly, dude. Looks like you just went overboard.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Overboard. I'm your host, Jenny.
And I'm Anthony.
And this year has been a year, and I don't think it's a year that any of us have wanted to live through. And we were just thinking about different eras and things that we wished we were alive for, because
that was kind of dark, dude.
Well, I mean, it's true. Nobody really wanted to. If you could choose to live through 2020, you wouldn't. Right?
No, if I knew what was going to happen in 2020, I definitely wouldn't mess around with it.
Exactly. But we were thinking about like eras that we wish we did live through, and we thought that would be fun to share with you guys. Now, before we like go into that, we are saying these eras if everything else was like good. So there was like no racism or like any of, the negative stuff. Not because everybody always goes, well, there was racism in that time. It's like, yeah, well, we're talking theoretically if everything was like,
yeah, like
better.
I always have to catch myself, when I'm talking about, I would go back in time, because not a lot of people think when they talk about time travel, they don't realize that time travel won't be the same for like all ethnic groups, right? So
yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't want
to think about
right?
that.
Like I don't. Yeah, they just are like, oh yeah, there's time travel. There's no consequences, but they forget that reality is savage and history was not for fun. So
if you just erase all of that and just take the good part, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So for me, something I wish I would have been able to live through, and it's my number one thing, like, is the disco era. And not only like the disco era, but like the roller disco era. I just think
roller disco. Yeah, that would be sick.
Like when that was popping, like instead of like, we don't really like do things for fun anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's always
like
just like dinner. That's it.
Yeah. Like people want to go on trips, but nobody ever hits me up and says like, very rarely people will hit me up and say, hey, you want to go bowling, or hey, you want to go roller disco, right? Like an activity. They're just like, yeah, let's go to the bar
or out to
have
dinner,
a drink or out to dinner. Like, I'm cool with that. Don't get me wrong, but
it would be fun every now and then to just have like a activity to do.
Yeah, and like specifically like a roller disco, and the sad thing is, if I was able to live through the era and I was still like the same person I am now, I probably wouldn't be able to roller disco for shit. Just, I can't roller skate as is. You know what I'm saying? Mm. Well, it's not that I can't. It's just like every time I've ever roller skated, I've hurt myself.
Yeah.
Eventually, like, and I don't know. That's something I probably wouldn't be able to do, but I would love to go back during that time. Especially like just some of the disco bands, to see some of those disco bands live in like a club. Like I think about it like this. Like when I go to the club now, right? Or like go see a concert now, right? It's at like Electricity, or like we have the Magic Stick or Majestic. And those are like, they're not necessarily like clubs, more so than they are just like concert venues. I mean, I guess that's what a club is, but I just think of like instead of going and seeing like a Dubsteps concert, it would be sick to see like Earth, Wind and Fire like in their prime.
Oh yeah.
Like live, right? Like go see Chic live in their prime. Just there's too many good bands to even name off. The Isley Brothers in their prime. Like, just imagine being in the club, right? And like PYT comes on by Michael Jackson. And you're just in the club with your homies, like, and everybody gets lit because that song slaps.
Yeah.
But everybody's like dancing and having a good time too. Like, people don't dance now as much at like, I
They
mean, I
don't
guess
like
you can't dance at dubstep
dance.
concerts.
They just kind of
Yeah.
like,
But like, even when I go to like a festival or something and I'm like, I go to the funk stages or where the disco stuff is. And like some people there's like the troopers that dance, right? The handful of 10 people, me
Yeah.
included, that are like right in front of the stage that are like dancing. But most everybody else is just kind of like bobbing their head. And that's
Yeah.
cool. But
just like
People
people
are-
that were so like are carefree. That's how concerts used to be.
yeah, people are afraid to move now, I feel
Yeah.
like, right?
Yeah. Because you never know who's recording nowadays. like get somewhere and you look dumb. But
Yeah, get put on social media and like everybody, you just become an internet meme
yeah.
for the rest of your life. I wouldn't mind that, being an internet meme.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their thing, but yeah, no, definitely. Or even just like having, those classic disco like floors with the lights and stuff. Like, they don't do that anymore. That would be sick to go to like a club and have
Like
the
disco
lights.
tiles.
Yeah.
I wonder how common that was too, and then what made them get rid of it, where people just start coming in with dirty shoes and like dog shit on there, so you just like ruined the whole thing. Or,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
how about this?
safety hazard maybe?
We get a club that's like that, and the whole floor is disco tile. But to enter, you have to remove your shoes. But we give you like
Slippers.
little booties or something, or like whatever, like the little Japanese shoes are that
Yeah.
they wear when you come in the house. Like, just give them some fucking chanclas, you know?
No, that'd be so funny. That'd be so fun to start like a club that had like the disco
it'd be heavy
floors,
disco theme.
and then
Yeah.
also just like, I don't know. That'd just be so fun. I don't know. Maybe
Even
one day.
disco
One
balls
day.
are cool.
Yeah.
Like, you shoot some lasers at a disco ball, and I'm sure that shit would like make a million lasers, but look even cooler. Like, I don't know why they discontinued disco balls. When did that become a thing?
I don't know. You know what I was thinking though? Okay. I want to go back to, again, this is theoretically, to the Jurassic times when dinosaurs were a thing. And I just really want to see like what one looks like in person, and then also what they sound like, because nobody knows what they actually sound like. The things that you hear in movies, that's just like, I guess, an imagination of what they would sound like. Nobody actually knows. Like, what if they're like freaking lion, like sound like lions and not like,
Wait, like, so you're saying like, I mean, I get it, because we don't know what a dinosaur sounds like, but there
Yeah.
was somebody somewhere who was like,
Yeah.
and said that's what a dinosaur sounds
yeah,
like.
exactly.
You know?
So it's
Oh
like,
boy.
I just
And
want to.
people just agreed with that too. It makes
Nobody
makes you
question it.
wonder. Yeah, who was the first person to make a dinosaur effect, and what movie was it in? Like,
Yeah, that's it's like funny to think about, but also just to see one in person, like fully bodied, because you only see the
fully
skeleton.
body yada 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 yada.
Like because we like
shake
don't
that
really
brontosaurus, shake it.
because we haven't seen it. Like you see what they think they look like with a body.
Horns and scales, and
Yeah.
the T-Rex has baby arms. But like, I don't know if we already talked about this on the show, but like, I was also thinking about, somebody made me think pretty deep the other day, and it was like, it's probably like a highly uneducated thought anyway, but like, what if like the bones that they put together, what if they're like not the right bones to the right animal? You know what I mean? Like, we think that the bones are the right, maybe they do some DNA testing and like they prove that the bone that they found in like the bones that they found in a certain dig site were like,
Well, I imagine they'd all be
But
like next to each
linked?
other, right?
yeah, but like,
When you dig them up. Like they're not going to be spread out unless like two of them died on top of each
right.
other.
Well, I don't know. They could have been spread out like over the you know,
True.
the plates
Yeah.
moving and stuff and shifting, and like the sediment and dirt, like the mantle, whatever you call it. Trying to use
Yes.
my science terms here. Yeah, the mantle like probably moves it a little bit, but I don't even still like what if like the way they died, like a bunch of different ones are in the same vicinity, right? And like
They
it
just
looks,
connected it all the wrong
yeah,
bones.
kind of like they collapsed on top of each other and just got mixed together. Like what if one of the bones that they have is like for a completely different animal, or some of the bones are for a completely different animal than the you know, the main bone, the main piece. Like if you have a spine, what if like the ribs are different, or like the knee bone is to a complete few different animals, right? Like the legs and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's a silly thought, because now that I think about it, like they are at a dig site, right?
Yeah.
You'd hopefully find multiple heads. So that's kind of like the evidence that there would be multiple creatures. And then
There was
I don't
just
know.
one of each.
I don't know. I went on a tangent, but I'm just saying, like, what if what we think we have built out of these bones is completely wrong?
Or
And
what if
then-
they were like not land animals? Like I know that like again, this is like far out, and like from the research they've established they are land animals. But what if they weren't? What if they were like sea animals
the whole time?
or like swamp animals? They just
I
like
mean-
were in a swamp. That was their habitat.
For some, I would honestly, I would probably believe that they could be sea creatures, because if they are reptiles, right, or amphibious, yeah, something like that, right, like they
They're
show
scaled
us that they have
creatures.
the long tails, right,
Yeah.
and
the
even
tails.
like lizards and crocodiles now, the way they swim, like I
Yeah.
feel like
It's possible.
some dinosaurs could get away with that.
And I mean, you got freaking, what are they called? Hippopotamuses? And they
Yeah,
like
those are thick
scale the
boys.
freaking the what do you call that? The sea
Skim the
floor.
water.
The sea floor, and then they like whoosh. If you haven't seen a video of a hippopotamus in water, it's kind of crazy. Those things are fast, even underwater, and they're heavy.
They're fat. They knew how to move, like, because they can run fast too.
It's scary. It's actually kind of scary. Like
I
I'd
wanna
be so scared if I saw a hippopotamus in person.
I want to say like a hippopotamus can run like 10 miles per hour or something.
Probably. I don't know. I don't.
Maybe more than that. Maybe 10 miles per hour is an underestimate. But also, like, another thing I was thinking about dinosaurs is like, yeah, like they say they have scales and stuff.
Yeah.
But what if they had skin, like human skin, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if they've like found, because like shedding of
Or like just
scales or
regular
something?
animal skin flesh.
Yeah,
like-
I wonder how they decided that it was scales. There's probably like evidence that we're like shedding over. So
Overlooking.
yeah.
We're thinking
we're just thinking off the top of our head without researching any
Yeah,
of this.
if-
So don't
if you
take
know that-
anything for like
if you know
fact.
if you know the answer to why dinosaurs are supposedly lizards or reptilian or amphibious, let us know.
Also,
But
again,
like human skin, could you just imagine a T-Rex
just has
with human skin and like the tiny arm? Oh,
Ugh.
ooh.
Ugh, it would look like a baby bird without its wing, like feathers. Ugh.
Yeah, or like, yeah, well, exactly. That's what my point is, right? Because then they say that sometimes you hear those people that are like, yeah, dinosaurs are birds evolved from like dinosaurs, right? Or had the possibility of. So what if they never had skin? What if they had feathers? But also still, what if they had like the skin of a fresh baby bird or something? Like it was mushy, you know, like
Ew. Ew.
you know, like
ew,
those
ew, ew,
those hairless cats,
Ew, yes.
like that are completely bald. I don't know what they're called.
Thymine
But-
or
They're kind of like that. something like that.
No, I
But yeah,
know
they're
the
furless.
name.
That's what I imagine like a dinosaur to its flesh to look like if it's not a lizard.
But then it begs the question, like, you know how they say, like, lizards and shit evolved, or, like, dinosaurs evolved into lizards. Isn't the theory on how dinosaurs, like, became extinct because, like, what do you call those things? A
gonna quiz
meteoroid or
you.
something,
Yeah.
like, came down and wiped them
Okay.
all out. So how did they evolve if they're all gone? You know?
Well, that was like not evolved from, but are descendants of the same family.
But how?
So-
If they were gone,
so-
how are they even descending from another? Do you get what I'm saying? If they were
Yeah, I get
completely
what you're
gone, like how do they descend from something that's not there?
I don't think like
Like they're just
anything
similar to?
necessarily. Yeah, I don't think anything like evolved. Like those creatures just completely died off.
Yeah.
But like how like humans are like part of like the
Oh, we can go into a whole nother episode.
you know
on that.
like the ape family, right?
Yeah.
Or somehow related. It's like that. But like we don't have it's just a different trait, you know. I don't know. Only the small things lived once the meteor hit. Like the small things that could take refuge and didn't require as much like
Yeah. So then, do you think they were
They
just
weren't
like
big and
dwarf
stupid.
dinosaurs and stuff? And then that's what evolved? Do you know what I'm
Dwarf?
saying? Dwarf dinosaurs, like mini ones.
well the mini because there's like raptors and stuff that are like human size.
But I mean like mini. Like tiny little dinosaurs.
Yeah, they have reference of like the teeny ones. They're literally like
Okay, so yeah, I guess that
the
makes
size of
sense
like a
then.
dog or something, like a small dog.
That's still not that small. Small dog. Could you imagine a dinosaur that's the size of a small dog? That'd be scary too.
Yeah. and
What if
they
that
were.
was just our life? Like we were just walking around and it was like casual, like a squirrel almost, just raptors and stuff running
like
around.
just I mean, I'd hope they'd be docile
Ye-
for the most part, you know,
Yeah.
and just leave us. I feel like we would kill them all as humans. We would kill them all in general. But
yeah,
enough about dinosaurs.
yeah.
I went off there.
We both did. It's all right.
I also think it would have been really cool to like, if I could go back, would be to go see the first Star Wars movie, like on opening day, like go see A New Hope. I think, what is that? The 80s. I think like growing up or just being around in that time period for that would be so cool. 'Cause you've never seen anything like that movie before. And, you know, everybody like worshipped it. That's when the fandom got started. So
Yeah.
I think that would be a cool like one-time thing. Just go back and see it on opening day.
Yeah, or go back and see the excitement of like just the first movie that was ever played in like the Great Train. What is it called? The Great Train. Oh, my media degree is going down the toilet. I don't know. The first
like
movie.
I know what you're talking about. Where
Like just to see the excitement of everybody to be like, oh my gosh, like what is this? Like we're watching
Yeah.
a movie. Because like it wasn't a normal thing. It'd be really cool to see like people's reactions to how something so normal for us was so like insane to them, you know?
yeah, if we were like had taken a time machine and went to do that, they'd be like, Gadzooks, this is the craziest
What the?
moving picture, the craziest and only moving picture I've ever seen in my life. Gee whiz. And then I'd be like, wait till you see the Avengers Infinity Wars.
Me, never seen it.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Ugh, sorry.
Shame.
Or just be around like
Shame.
when everybody had really like cool cars, or like you know,
Like in the 60s?
when there was actually nice cars and stuff was actually made well, and like go into a drive-in Like that'd be cool.
Yeah, when like drive-ins were like the
Poppin'.
main thing to
Yeah.
go do. Yeah, I think that would be sweet. I also think it would be cool to like I would want to go back to see like the pyramids in their prime. I mean, ideally, yeah, I don't want to see them like getting built because I don't care
I want to
about
know
them
how
getting
though.
built. I mean, I want to know how.
There's
of course.
explanations, but the explanations still don't make sense to me. Cause like those each one of those bricks or blocks or whatever are like tons and tons of pounds. And it's like it just doesn't make sense. They didn't have they didn't have that technology back then. How? And they said it's like a pulley, but even a pulley, like if you were trying to do that with manpower, you'd have to have like thousands of freaking men pulling this thing up, you know?
Yeah. Well,
And then to build
they
it
had
that
thousands
high.
of people. Yeah. I don't believe in that theory. The best explanation I've heard about the pyramids being built were that so like they're made with like limestone and stuff.
Yeah.
And they had limestone well, they didn't have a limestone quarry anywhere close. And I want to say it's so deeper in East Africa. There's this river that flows, and that's kind of like where southern Egypt would be. And there's a limestone quarry down there. But the theory is that like for their time, right? Like the Egyptians' time period, they could work stone, or just people in the Stone Age in general. They could work in like fashion and mold stone.
Yeah. No, I've heard that.
In such a like sophisticated way, like in the same way that like we are masters of like metal bending and creation now. Like we can make metal into like any shape we want pretty much for the most part.
Right.
So the idea is that like as skilled as we are with metal, the Egyptians were that skilled working stone. So the thought is that when the river Nile would inundate, which means fill up with water, and get big and high, and they would go and take the wet sand from the banks, and the limestone would come down the river as sediment, from that quarry further upstream.
Right.
So the idea is that they just had a bunch of people, and you go take your things and take like a bucket or something, and you just carry wet sand back. And then you have the people who are carrying the sand to the place, and then the people who are molding the sand into blocks. And then you let it sit in the sun, bake for a day, and you just shaped a block. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. Still doesn't sound like a super... I mean, I guess it's more plausible, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good, but I just want to see... I just only want to go back to see that time period because I want to see like the... What is it? The ivory color of like of the pyramids in their prime, right? Like, because they have an ivory, like they glow white under the sun when the sun hits it, and it supposedly had like a gold top to it that got stolen.
That would be cool to go back and see that though. It'd be fun to go back to Woodstock and just see what it was like compared to like festivals now and like hippies now. Like I want to see what they're like compared to like hippies back then. Like it was just so different,
Yeah, I don't know.
And just to like see that music and like be in that environment, it'd be weird to like see everybody's tripping and you're just like sitting there like watching.
On like quality substances too, and those people crazy though. Like I always idolized that idea of going to see Woodstock, because you're like, yeah, that's one of the like, that was one of the most pivotal like music movements during that time, right? And like, I think it would be cool, but like, I don't know, man. They roughed it pretty hard, you know, like people were just showing, like they had thousands and thousands of people just showing up out of nowhere. They didn't have like a change of clothes like we pack, you know, they didn't have tents. They didn't come to camp. They just ended up staying. They stayed there for God knows how long, and like it rained and stuff, and people just slept in the mud for Woodstock.
That's why it'd be like fun to go see it and just like see the environment that it brought, because like it's like what are they thinking, you know?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, no, that's a good point, because I'm sure like it was a great experience, but then I also just think about like how, if you're going to sleep in the mud, like I'd have to be pretty messed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pretty messed up, like life-threateningly messed up, to just like pass out in the mud and just like bake in the sun for a couple days. And those people like didn't really have food. Like they were struggling to feed people at first and get all their supplies. But I think it'd be cool. It'd be really cool to see like Jimi Hendrix, especially, like do his thing. Janis Joplin, Carlos Santana. It would probably, let's be real though, like just from what you saw at Forest when that year you went, like what did you see, like what you would consider a hippie at Forest? And I'm not saying like a wook, because a wook,
no,
that's like
I didn't see any hippies that I would say.
Yeah, but like weird bit. Okay. Because
I've just looks.
Yeah, I've definitely been around like people who are like actually hippie and seeing what they're like. I guess I shouldn't even consider them actually hippie. They're like people who were probably born in like the 80s and grew up during like the 90s pretending to be hippies, you know, like whatever the last generation before us is, or me is.
But you got those some people that are like born into hippie families, and then it just kind of goes from there too. Like some people are kind of like just born into it. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different places and like things that we could go on all day about where we would want to go and see. But I think we're going to stop it for today because we're going on tangents. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode. As always, you can follow us over on Instagram at Overboard X Podcast. That's Overboard, the letter X Podcast. You can follow us on, or you can subscribe to us on YouTube. The video version of the podcast goes up on there. And
don't forget to like as well. And like the episodes.
Oh, I already said subscribe. I was like, and subscribe. like and subscribe. And also rate us on Apple, because that helps out a lot. And we will see you on next week's podcast. Bye.
We'll get to steadier waters eventually.